So, what's the best way to identify poisonous plants that are toxic to sheep? This plant here is called Jimson weed. It's also called thorn apple or devil's trumpet. And it's a very, very poisonous plant. It's hallucinogenic. And so if you have to deal with it in any way at all, you need to wear gloves. Never even come close to this plant without wearing gloves. Jimson weed makes a beautiful white or creamy colored flower. And the flower will turn into this spiky seed pod which contains all the seeds. The seed pod will contain hundreds of these seeds, and just 3 or 4 of these seeds can kill a person easily. It's also a hallucinogenic, and it can make a person go crazy. There's some hippie people that'll eat the flowers or eat the seeds, and it's something that you just don't want to touch. Now, this pops up on my farm every few years. It'll come back up because the seeds have a hard shell, and they'll stay in the ground for up to 30 to 40 years. Anytime the soil is disturbed, that'll activate these seeds, and a new plant will come up just out of nowhere. When I first started raising goats, they would come in and they would turn their neck around totally backwards. They turn their head around backwards and stagger. I've never seen anything like it. And they were eating the seed pods of this Jimson weed. And so it's really important to go through and get rid of it. Now here's another plant right outside my front gate. And I was going to let it grow up and show the pods and everything because it was outside the fence where the sheep couldn't get to it. You see there's a flower right there coming up on it. But there's some people down the street that are into drugs, and somebody kept coming by and taking the flowers off of it. I guess they were smoking it or something. But it's a very dangerous plant. It is known that it makes LSD look like child's play. It contains atropine and scopolamine, and it will kill your sheep, but not before sending them to another planet before they die. So just be very careful when you see this and cut it down immediately. Other common poisonous plants for sheep are the azalea, rhododendron, oleander, foxglove, the yew, lily of the valley, and larkspur. For pasture and field plants, it's the bracken fern, poison hemlock, water hemlock, buttercup, ragwort, nightshade, and Jimson weed, which I talked about, and lupine are poisonous to sheep. For trees and shrubs, it's the wild cherry, the black locust, the red maple, and the walnut. All these trees are poisonous to sheep if they eat their leaves or they're exposed to them. For weeds and other plants, the milkweed, the pokeweed, which is poke salad, St. John's wort, and horsetail are all poisonous to sheep. And the perilla mint, or it's called the beefsteak plant. It's perilla mint, and it's edible for humans. It's actually a mint, but it's toxic to cattle and other ruminants. So it will kill sheep. I've got it all over my property. I'm going to show it to you in just a minute. But there's a much easier way to find these plants and determine which ones are dangerous, and I'm going to show you how to do that. There's an application for your smartphone called iNaturalist. And whatever you point your iPhone at, or the camera of your iPhone at, it'll describe it to you. It'll tell you what kind of plant it is, And so you can look at this one. It says it is a beefsteak plant. This is the Pirelli mint, which is actually poisonous to sheep. Now they just won't touch it, but still I mow it down. It's not nearly as bad as the Jimson weed. And it is edible for humans. But you can go around, you can identify everything. This is yellow crownbeard, which grows about 6 feet tall. And is another reason why I have to mow my grass and try and keep this yellow crownbeard from growing. So now I know what these plants are. I look at them. We go over here and look at this plant. This is more Pirelli mint or beefsteak plant. And it's telling me exactly what I need to know. And this is poke salad, American pokeweed. It's also poisonous to sheep. Just keep it cut back as you can. They won't touch it, but if they did eat it, it would kill them. So that's poke salad Annie, and the gator's got your granny or whatever. I'm not sure why anybody would ever want to eat that. Here's some. We're looking at something else here. This is tall ironweeds, a short version of it. This thing, Vernonia gigantea, it grows about like 8 feet tall all over my property. And I've had to mow it down as much as possible. It spreads. It's very prolific. And it cuts out all the grass I can produce. This is called common ragweed, which I didn't know what it was. So this is a very helpful little application to use. It tells me where the ragweed is. And then this is more of that, I believe that's the crownbeards, the yellow crownbeards. And then there's also some Vernonia gigantea, or that tall ironweed. I think it's trying to pick up here. Now I didn't get it quite. There it is, tall ironweed. Like I said, this thing is at least 7 feet tall. It's taller than me right now in this one spot. I've also used this application to look at things like a bear track. It would even tell me that it was a black bear that made the track. So it's very helpful. I also started looking at all the trees I've got, and it told me that I had a tree of heaven, which is an invasive tree, all over my property, which I've been cutting down. So here you can see the stumps of the tree of heaven I've been cutting down, and it's a companion plant for the spotted lanternfly, as well as the brown marmorated stink bug. We had a lot of stink bugs in our house the last few years, and they're really coming off this tree of heaven. The lanternfly hadn't got to Tennessee yet, but it's coming, so we got rid of it. So this iNaturalist application on the smartphone, that's why I got rid of my flip phone and actually got a smartphone. When I saw this application, I said, I've got to have it, because it's just so essential to know what's going on with my sheep and what they're eating, what they're not eating. You can see there's a lot of Pirelli mint in the foreground there. And on the right, there's a tree of heaven. You can probably recognize it. This is before I cut it down. And so I have to clip my pastures. I have to keep them cut down. You can see here's some Pirelli mint and yellow crownbeard trying to grow up and crowd out the grass. I have to cut my pastures every few weeks in the summer just to keep these weeds down, or else they'll take over. They'll take over everything. Now, in places where I cut it and keep it cut, that it doesn't come back, but these are all perennial plants. They come back over and over again. And so identifying what they are, whether they're good for sheep or not good for sheep, that really helps. But they love the short grass, and there's a reason for that too. I'm going to make another video about why sheep really like to have short grass. Well, I hope this helps you, and I hope you can stay safe. And if you see that Jimson weed, you need to put gloves on and cut it down immediately. And thanks for watching the video.